Before I begin, if you just want to see the installation of the filters on the water system, you can skip ahead. I'll put a time down at the bottom. But for the first part of this video, I wanted to quickly talk about the filters I bought, why I bought them, the system I'm going to set up, how much everything costs, all the fittings you're going to need, and why I'm doing this the way I'm doing it. So we just bought a new house and we have a well, and we live here in Michigan and we get really good water pressure, but we also have iron in our water and arsenic in our water. We had a test when we bought the house and they said we had 20 parts per billion of arsenic. Now, this system will not get rid of the arsenic. The only way to get rid of arsenic is with a reverse osmosis system, and we're going to be installing 2 of those on sinks right under the sink upstairs. This is purely to get rid of sediment and minerals and hopefully iron that's in the water, so all of that isn't slammed into the reverse osmosis filter system, which is a series of filters, and that doesn't clog up. This is going to filter everything in the house except the sprinkler system and the spigots on the outside. There's a bypass on the plumbing right over here. This is going to intercept all the other water, and it's going to intercept it before it gets to the water softener. So before I bought anything, I did tons of research. I watched videos and pictures and read about it, and I saw people had done 1 filter or they had 3 filters with the same filter cartridge in it. I saw filters that had been plumbed in parallel so you didn't lose pressure. And this is just the system that I came up with. It makes the most sense to me. And what I've come up with is a series of 4 filters, and each of them with a smaller micron size opening. So the way it's going to work is like all other systems. I'm going to tap off the existing line, run through the filters, and tap back in. I will have valves to isolate it and pressure gauges to monitor the pressure coming in and out. And before I keep going, everything I bought here I got on Amazon, and I'll put links down in the description with what I bought, the cost, and the quantity I'm going to actually use. Because some of these I bought a pack of 10 and I'm only using 4, but I'll put all links and the cost for everything down in the description. But for the filters themselves, these are the first 2 that I purchased. And this one is a 100 micron filter and this one is a 50 micron filter. I know they look the same, but they have smaller openings in the fabric itself. And the fabric, when I say fabric, these are actually turn down filters or spin down filters. You're not actually changing a filter. It's kind of like the screen on your screen window where it's just going to catch the particles. When this gets clogged, all you have to do is open the valve. All of that will get washed out and close the valve. And I really like that idea that I'll never have to change a filter on either of these 2. So these are going to catch the big particles that come in the house first. Now the next 2 that I bought, I was almost going to buy, there's a real popular one, it's blue from DuPont. It was quite cheap. There's a billion people that bought it on Amazon, but I went with these because they're clear and I wanted to be able to see the filter. I wanted to be able to see if it was clogged with iron. I'm going to have pressure gauges, but I wanted to see how clogged it was, immediately look at it and say, oh man, I got to change that filter. So I went with these. They're from Culligan. This is the filter casing. This isn't the actual filter. The filter gets screwed, placed inside of here. And these are from Culligan. They're on Amazon. They're one of the most popular ones on there. It seems super well built. Looking at the picture, I didn't realize how large it was, but these are really big. They take a 10-inch by 4-inch circular filter cartridge that looks like this. And the cool thing about this is I bought 2 exactly the same, but I have, in these, I have 100 micron, 50 micron. I'm going to put a 25 micron in here and a 5 micron in here. If it starts to get clogged up or I lose pressure, I might change this from a 5 to a 10 or a 15. And that is an issue with this, is that as it is now, water's running straight up through the house, and we're going to be putting it through bends and pipes and valves and gauges and filters, and we're going to lose some pressure, hopefully not a lot. Like I said, I live in Michigan, we have plenty of water. Now it is estimated that each of these bends and fittings and tees, you might lose a half a PSI, and I think maybe each time it goes through one of these filters, I might lose up to 5 PSI. So if I have 50 coming out of that pump, by the time it goes through here, it might be down to 30. I'm hoping not, and by the time it goes upstairs, it might be 20. I hope not also. The next point is, I was originally going to use solid copper pipe and use solder and hook it all up. But I decided to go with PEX piping, which is right here. One downside with the PEX piping is the inside diameter. It's slightly smaller. This is all 3/4 inch pipe, and 3/4 inch is what I have back there. But the inside diameter of PEX piping is a little smaller. With the system I'm going with, you can expand the PEX, and that's one method of crimping it on. But with all these different fittings, these are actually smaller than a 3/4 inch, and a 3/4 inch with a copper. A copper fitting fits over the 3/4 inch pipe. These are going on the inside of the 3/4 inch PEX piping. So we might lose some pressure by the time it goes through the whole system and upstairs. I'm hoping it's not a lot, but it's something I'll have to look out for. Now I went with the cheapest one, which is this here. And this tool actually works for 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch. And it kind of works like, you know, a hose clamp where you put it on a tube and you use a screwdriver and you can tighten the hose. It kind of works in the same way where there's an inner ring and an outer ring and you're compressing that outer ring. You're just kind of pinching it together. It was only 30 bucks, 30 bucks. These were each of these filter casings were 52, and I think these were each 52 as well. This whole system was right around $400, which seems like a lot, but you could just go with one filter and it would be half the cost, but the main cost was in these filter systems. Again, with PEX piping, the cost is a little bit more expensive than a normal copper tee, but these weren't too much. I think these were $1.50. I am going to use a shark bite fitting where I'm connecting to the existing system. These were $5 or $6. These are the expensive ones. You definitely don't want to use the shark bite fittings all the time. Just one or two in certain scenarios where you can't weld it or you don't want to weld it. Now, like I said, I did a ton of research and I drew the system out maybe 10 times. And it helped me to visualize how I wanted to do this. Because when I started, I didn't really understand the actual flow of how it was going to go. I know if you've done this before, it probably makes sense. But like I said, it's going to leave the existing pipe. I'm going to cut. It's going to come into this shark bite fitting. From here, I want to install a T, which will go to a butterfly valve where I can isolate this system. So there's actually about 3 butterfly valves. 2 where I can shut off the incoming and outgoing flow of the system, and 1 for the bypass. So if I ever want to change a filter, I will close the filter system valves, open the bypass, and the water will go straight through and straight out. But for most of the time, I'll close the bypass and it will run through the system. Now the way this is going to go, I'm going to take this piece of plywood I have right here, I'm going to mount it to the wall. I'm going to fit everything on here that I need, and I'll make the final connection to my water system where I actually have to cut the pipe on somewhere like a Saturday or a Sunday where I know I have plenty of time because there's going to be no water to the house for a little bit while I make this connection. But when you're doing this, before you start laying it out, you have to decide where this is going to go, and you do want it open and easy and accessible to get to. So that's why I'm putting it on that big wall. I'm not tucking it behind somewhere where I won't be able to get to it or I won't be able to access it. This is the point where I'm connecting. I'm going to be connecting into this pipe here. So I just set up my laser level to shine a line on the wall, just so I can get a rough estimate of where this is going to be, because I want this one in line pretty close. The other one is going to come up, drop down, and then go over and connect here. But this one I kind of want to keep in line. Well, I screwed up. I figure it's a better idea to put some of these fittings on here now, and I definitely have to put this fitting on first. I can't mount this, screw this in, because I have to spin this to rotate it on. So I'll have to mount both of these simultaneously. But I might as well do the ends too. The crescent wrench doesn't fit. Jesus. That ain't right. Keys to using this PEX pipe is you want to make sure the tool is wide open. It can grab a little bit on the end. Then it'll grab it and won't let go. But you don't want this all the way at the end up against the elbow. You want it a little ways off so it grabs it right in the middle and squishes it out. Once it's set, it releases. Just like that. It's that easy. I have everything dry fit, and now I'm just kind of aligning it before cinching it down. I've looped everything through, everything on the wall is done. I just have to make the final 2 connections here. Luckily, I have a direct flow through here and a bypass which goes through the water softener. So I can close this valve and this valve, open this. We'll still have water to the house, but this will be isolated. So I'm going to go ahead and close these, and I can make my connections right here. And what I'm going to be using to connect the PEX to the copper is just a sharp bite connection. I know these are kind of expensive. These elbows are like $5 or $6, but I couldn't really find a good copper to PEX connection, and I figured this would be great. I'll just snap it in, and be done with it. Now I don't have a lot of room to get a cutter in here because it's so close, so I have the water shut off, and I'm going to do it with a hacksaw and a bucket. Okay, well I just cut this piece out, and another reason why these shark bite connections are good, it doesn't have to be completely dry. You can see there's water dripping, probably leaking from this valve, and water's coming up from here. With the shark bite connections, you just pop it in. Otherwise, I don't know how I would be able to solder it with all this water in the pipe. Okay, time to make the connection, but before I do, I'm going to finally use this little dumb tool I got. It shows the depth that this should be on there, and I can mark it and see how far that shark bite should fit on there so I know it's all the way on. This is the 5 micron filter. Now, one important thing is to check this gasket. It's good to have backups and to have food grade lithium grease to put on here, or silicone grease to put on here, because you want to keep this clean and lubricated so it doesn't leak. Alright, time for the big test, see if it leaks. I'm going to close the main and open the bypass. Well, it's filling up. Pressure. This little guy right here is a water sensor. It's got 2 sensors on the bottom. I'm going to put this down here. It's super important, so if we hear this beeping, we know something's leaking. We have 35 psi here, 35 psi here. So, and on the tank, right off the tank, we have 38 psi. Well, unfortunately, it looks like we have 2 small leaks. None of them are leaking out of the shark bite connections. I have a small leak right here and a small leak right up here. So they're both leaking out of the fittings that I did. So I'm going to close this here, close this one here, and I'm going to open the bypass. So now it's running in and right back out. So now this system is closed. I'm going to try to tighten this here and somehow tighten this here. That's going to be tricky. Well, knock on wood, at the moment everything's working fine. There's no leaks. I did have some leaks in that brass fitting. I had to pop off one of the PEX couplings, put more Teflon tape on it, and really cinch it down. The hard part was they wanted to be tight off center. so I had to put enough Teflon tape to get them to be tight when they're parallel together, like this. Nothing's leaking, but I'm going to keep an eye on it, and like I said, I'll have my water sensor here, so in the middle of the night, if anything happens, hopefully we'll hear it, and the basement won't flood. But another thing about the pressure, I noticed when I connected it and turned the water back on, the gauge coming out of the well was 55, and both of these were reading 55 too. And when water flowed through it, these dropped, this one didn't. So I don't think these have a correlation up until the point where the pump turns on. Okay, it's been a week since I put the first part of this in, and I did make a couple changes. One is I put 2 more elbows in the corner just so it doesn't have that big round curve. I felt there was a lot of pressure on these shark bite fittings, so I put the elbow in so it was nice and stable. I also put another bracket here on the wall made out of wood just to hold everything in so it's nice and tight. But it's been a week, and I'm amazed at how much rust is already in this filter. This is the 5 micron filter. I see a little bit in the 100, nothing in the 50, a little bit in the 25, but the 5 and the 100 are the ones that are filled up. So I think if I were to do this all over again, all I would do from this well is use a 100 micron filter and a 5 micron filter, just the 2. I don't know how much those other 2 are going to do, but again, it's only been a week, and they're not hurting anything. They're definitely helping. I could see a lot of rust in this 25 micron filter. So what I might do is make this a 10. I could buy a new filter like this, and I could make that one a 10. Just replace the 25 and put in a 10. Another thing I added was this down tube from these blow-off filters with a little brass T. This is 3/8 inch inside diameter. So that's what fits on these down tubes, and it just goes to the sump over here, and it's 25 feet. It was $5 and $2 for the fitting. The last thing I have to do is make a shelf. I'm going to make a shelf up here for the filters. I have to write on the board. I want to write so it's nice and clear to anybody who comes down here what the filters are, the process for changing them. So if I'm not here, people can see, okay, open this valve, close these 2, unscrew this. I'm going to have it on the shelf. I'll have the wrenches up here too. And 2 more things that I bought are a non-toxic lubricant and some more O-rings. And some people have said that it's good to have these. Some people change them every time they change a filter. Sometimes when they open the filter, the O-rings expand and they can't get them back in. So they're good to have. And you use the lubricant to put on the O-rings to lubricate it so it sits and it seals properly. So I'm going to have these sitting next to it as well. But so far in the week that it's been up, I haven't noticed any pressure loss in the showers all the way upstairs. I haven't noticed the water pressure down at all. So I think I'm a little lucky. Being here in Michigan, we have tons of pressure. I'm seeing on the gauge down there out of the well, it's 50 psi. Right here on the outlet, I'm seeing 45 psi and 45 psi right there. So the filters haven't been clogged, although they're full of rust. They don't look like they're clogged according to the 2 different pressures. A little bit of a pressure loss from the well to here. I'm not sure why. It's been like that right when I installed it. But so far so good. I'm really happy with it. Hopefully we won't be getting any more rust in our toilets or our showers or our sinks. And this means that now I can go do the reverse osmosis filter to get rid of the arsenic in the other rooms, knowing that all this rust and sediment has already collected here and it won't be collecting in those filters. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. I really love using the PEX pipe. I like having all the filters, knowing that all the water coming into the entire house is filtered out now. So let me know what you think. Thanks.
Well, I hope you liked the video you just watched. If you did, feel free to subscribe by clicking the button on this side. You can also check out all the videos I've done, the playlist from things I've built, things I've fixed, home repair, 3D printing. And on this side, you can check out a recommended video similar to the one you just watched. And as always, down in the description, I'll put a link to my blog, which has more pictures and more information about the video you just watched. Thanks.
Okay, guys, I'm finally doing my video on my system. This is Arizona. Clean water for a long time. This is the CRO 1000. That's a giant membrane filter right here. Thing about membrane filters is you get fresh water that goes through here, but you get a lot of discharge. So the discharge has to go into a drain line. Most houses in Arizona have a soft water loop, and part of the soft water loop is a line in, line out for your toilets, your washer, your dryer, and water that you don't drink basically is soft water. There's always this little pipe here. This plumbs up to wherever your washer and dryer are. So you could actually drain into this. It'll go into your washer and dryer drain and then go through the city sewer system or wherever it goes from there. So this is a good drain line to tap into for your water membrane system. So water membrane is all plumbed up. I have the water coming in through there, non-softened water, by the way. So this is water from the city, and I have it going through the all-house filter, which probably overkill, but that's me. Through the all-house filter, it tees off of here and goes down and feeds the RO water. After the tee, it goes here and goes into the UV system, and then UV system goes into the soft water tank. So that the stuff, you know, when I shower with water and whatnot, if there was some type of bug or something in the water, it wouldn't get my eyes in the shower. So throw it through the UV light for all of my soft water. I'm not too worried about doing UV light through the RO membrane because nothing could get past the RO membrane. The UV light is just to kill viruses and stuff for my shower water, for getting in my eyes. So 2 things going on here, soft water and clean water. I have this iSpring pump. I highly recommend the iSpring pump. And then I just use this simple tubing. I go through here, I add some minerals to my RO water here. And then I go just right through the house, right through the back wall. This is just to fill up 5-gallon buckets and stuff for washing my car if I need to rinse off my car. But this goes through the house. And I backfeed into the refrigerator. So we could see here. It goes through the wall, comes around. This is my refrigerator. It backfeeds fresh RO water into the refrigerator. I take here and I just remove the filter. Sometimes there's a bypass cap that's needed. This model doesn't need a bypass cap because I'm not going to use that crappy filter there. And you'll see that pump come on. There's water. Pump is running. This is RO water with the pump chilled from the fridge. Unlimited. That's pretty good fill time. The line also goes underneath the slab, comes up under the sink to here. Most of the time you'd have a bunch of filters and a big old tank and stuff in here. I don't need that because I'm going backwards. I'm going from the refrigerator through the slab under here, and then I'm getting that same fresh RO water up to here. So again, that'll be super fast. This is, you'll see the pump kick on. There it goes. And this is unlimited RO water. It never runs out. It's just continuous. Other RO systems have like this tank looking thing that once that tank is out of water, you're out of water. This is going right through the membrane, and it's just all the time.
I recently purchased this iSpring filter, spin down filter. This is the 50 mesh. Very kindly, iSpring sent me the 100 mesh as well. They think that it would actually work better for my system. This is a shallow well pump. I also set up their descaler, which has actually worked quite well on my house. I'm very happy. So I put the filter after the pump, and yeah, so I'm very happy with it. And Sean over at iSpring is A1 guy. I get sediment down in my shallow well, so this is picking it up well. Here I just cleaned it out. Over like 3-4 days I'll see little specks and whatnot, so this allows me total control over what water goes into my house. And then I've got the descaler, and then I've got another water filter under the sink. So I'm set. Very happy with the iSpring. Thanks a lot, guys.
This is my iSpring filter. Originally it was 50 microns, but it seemed to be plugging up a little too often, so the company supplied me with a 100 micron filter, and it has been working very well. I flush it out maybe every couple days, and I believe it's saving me lots of money from having to change these whole house filters, and it's doing a very good job for me now.